So for today's webinar, I wanted to first off by sharing some hints and tips on probably one of the most important changes in the Microsoft 365 suite that we've seen in recent months, and that we've enabled in the Police Digital Service in terms of the Copilot Chat. And we'll have a quick look ahead after that at some of the things coming up in the next few months to help you engage and get involved in how we're all working together to deliver the National Data, Digital and Technology Strategy, and how we can work with the Police Digital Service as we work through 2026. I'll just move on to the right slide. So, there's no one in policing who isn't talking about AI, and what some colleagues really don't realise that we've already enabled nationally for the UK police forces the use of AI in the form of Copilot Chat. Now that's in line with the National Digital Strategy, which talks about our modern connected technology, and all forces effectively have the same options to use it on 365. And since the rollout of the Microsoft Stack, the establishment of the NMC and the Identity Access Management Standards, all those elements were as a result of the National Enabling Programme. So it's this an approach of singly assuring once to enable forces to switch on the functionality of Microsoft Copilot and that chat capability. Now, whilst this is still only a small part of the wider AI capabilities in the Copilot suite, Copilot Chat is an extremely powerful yet assured piece of technology that can be used across policing to make a real difference in how we work today. However, it's really important it's not seen as a replacement for the human element on decision making. Copilot Chat augments the way we work and enables us to be more effective and efficient, perhaps freeing up time about thinking what we are putting into reports, how to put them together, rather than perhaps doing the routine work. So this is where policing colleagues excel in terms of making decisions. Perhaps gathering data isn't perhaps our strength, and perhaps processing complex data isn't our strength. So using Copilot as part of the tools rather than replacing people's decision making and judgment. So today I'm going to show you some basic functionality of Copilot Chat, some ideas on how to find it and some of the basic functions, and there's so much more. We are planning a future webinar to go into further detail and to get us going even more. But what we always try and do is make sure this is in a police context. So the first question is, where do I find Copilot Chat? And it's in your Microsoft environment, and I think it's fair to say it's everywhere. You'll find it through the magical 9 dots on your browser. You'll find it in Excel, you'll find it in PowerPoint, Word, even Outlook. So it's built into the tooling that you have across the system, and we'll go into the detail in a second. But if you click the 9 dots or you find it in Word, you'll see something along the lines of this. So this is what we're going to use today to help us demonstrate it, to make it work for us, and you'll be able to try it, and you'll see the new chat bit. So I'm going to go over now. Hopefully the demo gods are going to be grateful, and just again to show that we're eating our own dog food, as the saying used to go, I created this image here using Copilot Create Chat, and I put that prompt in to create this image. So you'll see some of these images, and I'll share some of the prompts we used. It took about 40 seconds to generate that image for me. So this is just another element of the functionality. So I click the magic button, and hopefully now you are seeing my live Copilot, which you are. Brilliant. Okay, so let's start off with talking about a simple request where we're going to ask Copilot to look at publicly available information. And it's an example we've used a number of times where Mike, who's on the call with me today helping to present, is doing with in terms of coaching and supporting some chief officers in using the modern workplace tools. And I'm going to ask Copilot to define the role of a chief constable in UK policing. It's always a good way of giving an example of how it uses multiple data reports. But I'm also going to try something I've never tried on a live demo before. I'm going to try and use voice to do this because, as you know, I'm a massive advocate for digital accessibility. So define the role of a police chief constable in a UK police force. What are their key responsibilities and priorities aligned to current government approaches? So you can see that's working away in the background there. I'll send it off on its way. Hopefully it won't take into account those last bits I've done. There we go, it's working on it. And this is Copilot working away to analyse all the information and put it all together. So here we go. This is the data it's put up for us. It might not be 100% accurate, but let's have a look at it. And that's the point. It's done a bit of the groundwork for us to get things started and to put the information into place. So, and you can see here as well, the sources it's used. So it's used the College of Policing, and College of Policing again here, all the way through. It's got the key responsibilities. It's got run off to the Staffordshire Police and Fire Crime Commissioner's website for this bit of information. The Suffolk PCC's website here, etc. And again, here it's run to the government website for assets publishing. So it's finding the most appropriate sources of information, providing all this information for me. You can see what it's put in there in terms of the PCC's oversights. And then at the bottom, it lists all the sources it's used to gather all that information. And it's suggesting other things I might want to ask with it. And again, I'm not going to click on those today because we haven't got enough time to go through it. But it's a really good start of a place to work through. But importantly, your information sources are there. Now, that shouldn't be too much of a surprise given the way we've seen the growth of things like ChatGPT and those tools that work in place. But this is working in a police environment and a way we can do it. However, it can be used to process some of the data in our tenants that's marked as official. And we often need a quick summary of a report that allows us to think about what we need. So I'm going to use an example here on Copilot to upload a public-facing report into Copilot, ask it to provide me with a summary of the key information. And I think what you need to do with this is think about prompt engineering. The more specific you are in terms of setting the requirements and defining what the outcome you're looking for is, the more likely to get the responses you want to. So I can define it in a very specific way to get the information. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use a external website for it. I'm going to tell it I want it to look at that information. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of data here to do it. So let me just find out this here. So let me just find the prompt to provide me with here we go. Fantastic. Right. Okay. Here's some I prepared earlier. So to provide me with a 150 word executive summary, and then the key bullet points that I might want to show to the Chief Officer team at PDS, and show the example working out the value. I'll leave that bit out to keep it simple. Press the go button. And this again is where the demo gods hopefully come in. It's going to look at that document. And again, I haven't even got this document on our tenant. You could upload a document. So here's my 150 word exec summary. Again, pointing to where I've told it to get the information from. The key points for the chief executive team of PDS. So again, it's understood the context that I'm asking it to look at and provided those reports to me. And again, it's looked at the sources there, provided that information. And here I can create a slide. I can do a PDS specific implementations, explain the relations, pursuit of there. So we can put that in there. So it's trying to understand what to do and bring that in. And there we go. So you can see the sort of information it's pulling through. Really simple way to get information out and start you on your basis working. So nice and simple, easily do. So, okay, the next bit in Copilot, let's try and do some analyzing of information. So I'm going to start a new chat now just to make sure it's not picking up any history, because it does iteratively work in terms of the way it works. So I'm going to start a new chat now, and I'm going to upload a file. Now, I like to make decisions based on lots of information. So I'm going to do a very simple example. I have been using it for more complex, but I use lots of data, particularly things about the summit last year in October, and lots of data about who attended what sessions and what the roles were to help me evaluate it. So what I'm going to do is click the button and add some work content. And what I'm going to do is run off to my desktop and put a little file I've prepared for us earlier. There we go. So this is a very simple Excel showing the job titles and organisations of people who attended the summit last year. And what I want it to do is to look at that data and to provide me with the most common position of those who attended and which force sent the most people. Now, of course, you can do this in Excel, you can do this in Power BI, you can do far more complexity than this, but This is so much quicker in terms of analysing data and reviewing data. It allows you to work through different data sets and the complexity. I actually uploaded a 28 column report with 900 entries, and it was able to really give me lots of different recommendations and data. So this is where Demo God's hope. Here's a plain English summary to do that, and I'll explain why it's using that in a minute. But here's a summary. The data is a long list of data, and here we go. So head of, frequently, all the heads of IT, director and deputy director, program managers, etc. So which force sent the most people? Merseyside, Thames Valley, Greater Manchester, Avon, Somerset and South Wales. Okay, so that is a nice simple way of getting that data, and you can see it's producing me a more structured report. It can do all those sort of things. So a really simple way of extracting simple data sets, moving that through. Now, if I can quickly show Excel what that data set looked like to make it a little bit easier so it makes context for you, or I'll just show you the data set that was based on. Simple data set of job titles and organisations. And one of the important things here, it was able to understand the context of what I was asking, and it's only reported on the forces rather than all the other organisations. The most people from a single organisation was actually the Police Digital Service, as we were actually running and facilitating that, but it knows that's not a police force and it's taken that out of the response. So again, really powerful way of being able to get that data back into a way. And yes, you can create a little charts, pie charts, graphs, etc. again as we move that through. Okay, so just before we move on from Copilot, I'm going to share one really important part of how you can customize the settings of Copilot. Now, many of you will have heard me explain that I'm a dyslexic communicator, and I would thought it was really important that Copilot understood that in the way to help me produce the reports. And if you look at the top of the summary here, as it did that work, here's a plain English summary that it's pulled together from the data. So why has it put that as important? So if you head over to the three dots that are right at the top of the screen and click on settings, these are your personalized settings for 365 Copilot. And if you go to the personalization settings, custom instructions, here is a range of customized instructions in plain English that I've given Copilot to take into account as it does its work. So again, it even can cope with my poor spelling and copes really well with it. And you can refine this over a period of time. So you can see here where I've asked it to make sure it's focusing on UK English rather than US English, because sometimes you'll find Word defaults into weird settings. For some strange reason, technology reports often think that we're talking French. So you have to keep an eye on the bottom of Word to make sure that's being worked on. And remember how I want to engage, my style, my approach, make it so that it can be read by a member of the public rather than somebody with technical background. Plain English is suitable for public use. So again, you can customize, refine and define the way that you want Copilot to help you work. You can switch them on and off at any time and refine them as you go along. So a really important part of being able to make sure it's working for you and you're getting the right sort of responses out of it. I didn't know about that until recently when I did a Microsoft webinar. I thought that was a really powerful part of the way that Copilot can work and help you out. Okay, so I've improved the way I want my responses. I've got it working really refined way. Now it's time to move back into the deck. So I think the demo gods were relatively calm with me today, so I'll let that one move on. And again, we're going to start looking forward to what else we're going to be doing in 2026. Please keep your questions and posts coming in, and we'll try and deal with them a lot more. But I'm going to hand over to Mike now to take us through some of the content that's coming up in the next few weeks in terms of Wednesday webinars. Mike.
Thanks, David, and hi everyone. It's good to be back and Happy New Year. It's a great session, Dave, and well done on using the demo gods to your benefit. It worked well. So as regular viewers of these webinars will be aware, what we try and do is bring to you a range of topics and content that will really help you within your day-to-day working within policing. And what we always look to do is try and find an example where someone has really excelled in putting together a new piece of work, and we get them to give them the opportunity to explain what they did, why they did it, and what benefits they're seeing. And so to build on that and to really continue the celebrations from last year's NPCC Innovation and Digital Awards, which took place in October, as part of this series, we're going to be showcasing around 5 or 6 of the winners to help you understand not only what they did, so there's an opportunity for best practice, gives us an opportunity to continue to celebrate the great work that's going on. But also, as we start looking at the entries and putting forward the competition for the 2026 Digital Awards, it will give you all a bit of an opportunity and hopefully the inspiration to think about how you would nominate a colleague, a team, a group of individuals working either in one force or across a number of forces to really celebrate what people are doing. And I think being part of the awards in October, it gave me a really close opportunity to see not only the hard work that goes on throughout policing, but to also appreciate the opportunity that these individuals who do their work tirelessly, a lot of the time under the radar, doing it for the benefit of their colleagues and the organization, but an opportunity for them to be celebrated, to them to be recognized, and have that opportunity for policing to think there's a really good way of doing this. And so what we're going to be looking at with these spotlight events is we're going to be taking some of the category winners, and we're going to be just doing a very brief interview to get them to share with us what it is they designed, what it is they delivered, what it is they produced, and what they think made it stand out from everyone else. So it gives you as an audience an opportunity to understand why an individual or an organization has won. But also, if it's a new way of working that you hadn't experienced before, then it's a great opportunity for you to think about, could we also adopt that way of working? I think the next slide shows the categories that we covered in the awards. And what we're going to be focusing on, obviously dependent on people being available, because these are obviously great award winners and they're great pioneers, but also they're doing a day job. So what we're looking at, all being well, next week we're going to kick off with a showcase on the individual who won the Ambassadors Award. And then throughout the rest of the next sort of 4 or 5 months, we're going to be looking at some of the examples where people have won. So it's that whole approach around multi-agency approach to fraud, work around facial recognition, from a cyber point of view, the secure Active Directory, with looking at the wonderful work that was done around creation of Women in Tech initiative, and then finishing off with this little short series around training and the work that's being done around major incident training using new technology. So we're going to be really delivering that for you. So please keep informed through the information that Dave is showing you on the screen. Keep informed, and we will continue to inform you of what's coming up and when the webinars are coming up. Great for you to join us in person so you can ask the questions over the chat. But don't forget, we are recording every single webinar and we make it available that you can download and play it at your own convenience later on. So it's a great series of webinars we've got coming up between now and the end of May. And we look forward to seeing as many of you as possible on them. Back to you, Dave.
Thanks, Mike. And yeah, absolutely. Keep an eye on the PDS website for all the details of the events coming up. We are already starting to plan for a new summit for 2026. I cannot yet confirm the date, venue, or anything like that. As you can imagine, complex events, lots of contracting to put in place, but we're definitely moving forward with one again. And hopefully you'll be able to join us because we hope to make it even bigger and more accessible than we have before. But please do make sure you're visiting and understanding. There's also lots of numerous workshops that we're doing, and to highlighting on screen there, you've got the one with the British Computer Society, which is purely for our PDS member forces who can do there. But we've also got our colleagues from Police Oracle who are going to be joining, and we'll get a link posted into chat in the next few seconds or so, hopefully. Police Oracle is another partnership we've struck on your behalf, which gives policing colleagues access to more information. And again, there's a link takes you to the story. You can find more information on your intranet. If you have any problems, please contact us and we'll help you out with that. So there's so many events going on at the moment. Please make sure you are subscribed to our mailing lists, etc., and keeping up to date with what's going on so you can see all those there. Also, the weekly webinars, again, on the YouTube channel. Make sure you've got getting all the information you need on that. I'm just going to have a quick look at some of the questions. We haven't got an awful lot of time, and thanks for the comments that have come through on chat. Again, some challenges we're using with this new technology. We didn't think chat was going to be working today, but it is. So thanks, Len, for you being the first person to get there. We thought we was going to be using Q&A, and yet a really good use case there. In terms of Alexander, in terms of the protections that are in place, again, this is why you have to make sure that the human element is validating the data that's coming back in. There are protections in place. You probably need to be talking to your 365 administrator about the particular settings in each force, but making sure that you are crediting sources, etc. And there are limits in place to stop it looking at certain websites already in there. But again, none of this replaces that human touch of manually reviewing the data. It's there to help you to do quick summaries and gather that, and you can define the limitations where to look at in your prompts. So please do try and learn that. We will go into more detail on that in the coming months. This was just to get you moving through there. Chris, your comment around the environmental impact of Copilot and AI, yeah, there are absolute those implications, and it is that measure about those values that we do need to do in there. And again, there's a value in all these things moving forward to do this. Somebody else, I think it's Len, yes, asking for the link. We'll post the link to the subscription page where you can get updates when there's going to be a Wednesday webinar. And thanks for the feedback from Sam. So we've covered most of the questions there. I'll check the Q&A as well. There are some links in there where you can click on the Q&A. You'll get those other links. I can see a couple of more questions coming in there.
I think that question, Dave, from Alam is an interesting one for everyone about what Copilots you used and where you accessed it from, because I think that's something that people need to understand.
Yeah, I can't quite see that one. Mike, which one's that?
It's Q&A from Alam. Is this using MS Copilot Enterprise license or standard
yes.
Copilot license?
This is using the Force Copilot licenses, so your E3 or E5 licenses that are in the Force. This is part of the built-in functionality. It's not additional license or premium licenses. So all forces are already paying for this in their things. I'm not saying it's free, you are paying for this capability. That's sometimes what we forget about our 365 licensing. We are paying for huge amounts of capability and not always using all of it. So it's really important we do that. Look, we've had over 100 people on today's Wednesday webinar, which for a first webinar of a series is a bit of a record for us. So it's clear that everybody's keen to be getting involved in them, and we'll do more of that. Lots more events coming up, and there's lots of different ways to get involved. Hope you like the new Luke website, etc. There's a nice, easy way of contacting us through the website. If there's anything you've ever got a query, or you think there's something that we should be featuring in a Wednesday webinar, please do click in. Let us know, and we'd love to feature you. We are very flexible in the way we run those webinars, and hope you enjoyed the session. We always try to keep them to 25 to 30 minutes so you can get on with the rest of your day, and remember to share the posts as we continue on. So thanks to Mike, Bex and Isa who helped drive today's webinar. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. See you next week.